We now move to a topic that reminds us leadership extends beyond our hospitals and healthcare institutions. As healthcare professionals, our responsibility is not only to care for patients but also to contribute towards a healthier and more sustainable world for future generations. Transformational leadership is about inspiring change, challenging traditional thinking, and creating lasting impact. Today, the impact must also include environmental responsibility and sustainable healthcare practices. With that, we move to track 10, Transformational Leadership Protecting the Planet. To chair this session, may I invite Ms. Shubhada Sakurikar, Skill Competition Manager, Health and Social Care, World Skills International, and Founder Secretary Annie, to kindly take her seat on the dais. We welcome you, ma'am. I now hand over the proceedings to Madam Shubhada for the introduction of the topic.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever is the time now. We are past 12. It's a great honor to be on this platform and to share thoughts about something that is way beyond nursing. Something of which we all are an integral part. Yet, it is a very important topic to be contributing and to be effective. Transformational leadership, protecting the planet, protecting our future. When we think of leadership, we often imagine people in position of power. When we hear the word leader, we often think of presidents, CEOs, CNOs, and famous personalities. But transformational leadership is not about authority or holding a position. It is about influencing people. And we have heard this a lot since yesterday. It is about inspiring people to see a better future and motivating them to make that future a reality. It is about creating a vision, influencing people to act, and transforming challenges into opportunities. Our greatest challenge facing humanity today is conserving our planet. There is perhaps no greater challenge and no greater opportunity as well than protecting it for the future generations, because there can be no healthy people if there is an unhealthy planet. We are living in a time when climate change, pollution, deforestation, and the loss of biodiversity are no longer distant concerns for us. They affect our health. They affect the healths of the people that we care for. They affect our economies. They affect our daily lives. Rising temperatures, extreme weather events, poor air quality, and water scarcity are known by every one of us. So these issues are ecological issues. These are human issues. These are issues of sustainability of health and human survival in future. Healthcare professionals understand this connection deeply. We know that clean air, clean water, health ecosystems, and a subtle climate are fundamental to human health. Healthcare facilities generate an enormous waste every day, every hour, every second. While some of them are hazardous and unavoidable, there are about 80% of them which can be reduced, reused, and managed more sustainably. And therefore, this effort is very, very important. Just to understand this with 3 examples. A single surgery can generate several kilograms of waste, from disposable gowns and gloves to packaging material and single-use instruments. During COVID-19 pandemic, billions of masks, gloves, and PPE were used worldwide, which highlight both the importance of healthcare and its environmental footprint on Earth. Many items that we discard in hospitals are made from plastic, and they can take hundreds of years to decompose. Think about it. Every major positive change in history began because individuals who dared to imagine a future differently thought about it. The same is true for environmental sustainability. The world does not need a few perfect environmentalists. What we need is millions of us willing to make a conscious choice and inspire others to do the same. A transformational leader will never ask what you can do. A transformational leader asks what I can do for others. What I can do for others and how I can inspire others. And therefore, today we have 2 very eminent speakers who have not waited to ask others what they can do, but they are leading by example. And I'm very happy to present before all of you the 2 case studies. The first case study is being presented by Dr. Shilpa Tatke, CEO, Jupiter Hospital, Thane, who will speak about transitioning healthcare infrastructure to large-scale renewable energy efforts. Ma'am, please come on to the dais. Please welcome her with a nice round of clapping. We can do better. Thank you. The second case study will be presented by Dr. Sneha Vaidya, Regional Nursing Director, Apollo Hospitals, on Beyond the Incision. Ms. Sneha Vaidya. Let's do a better clapping. Thank you. What is the time? 15 minutes, please. 15 minutes. Ma'am, both of you have 10 minutes each for presenting your topic, and then at the end, we will take 5 minutes for summing up. Yourself, Dr. Shilpa.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so my 10 minutes start now. First of all, thanking Annie. I'm thankful to Dr. Captain Ajita Nair, Dr. Elizabeth, and all the office bearers of Annie for inviting. It is a great pleasure and honor to be here today. I completely agree with Shubhada what she was saying, that transformative leadership is not related to position. All of us must have heard about Fridays for Future. Anybody aware? So Fridays of Future are basically the youth movements. It is a youth movement started by Greta Thunberg. I'm sure many of you must have read about it at least. No? Yes? I couldn't hear anything. Yes. And especially it is more relevant today because when we are standing in the sizzling heat of Mumbai. You know, Mumbai at one point of time, in summers also, used to be around 32, 33. Today we are at 42. Last year, I replaced chillers of my hospital because when we started hospital construction in 2004, the ambient temperature around, the whole chiller system was actually built as per the ambient temperature 35. We had to replace everything because unfortunately today we are touching 42. And it is unstoppable. We can't imagine what are going to be the summers in future. And when today we discuss about it, these child activists, youth activists, they are not at any position. They are not at having any leadership, acumen or domain. But still they are fighting, still they are struggling for our future. They are questioning the world leaders today that what are we giving them in legacy. Without wasting time, I'll start with my case study. So when we talk about healthcare, we must have, learned by now that healthcare is an industry, And as a healthcare leaders, we should be aware that we are the energy guzzlers. Because of continuously running critical cares, OTs, HVAC, we are the highest energy guzzlers. Today, healthcare actually emits around 5 to 6% of greenhouse gas. None of us actually actively try anything to stop it or reduce this emission. As a hospital, there are two aspects why we should be worried about it. One is definitely a cost angle, because as the leaders at the helm of affairs, we are always concerned about our bottom lines and EBITDA. So that is, of course, one reason. Second, because of planet. Now, second remains most of the time secondary reason. But thanks today that we are becoming aware, and cost is also a kind of constraint. So at Jupiter, when we realized that even to run 350-bedded hospital, we will have to spend quite a lot chunk on energy bills every month. The bills actually range in terms of 1.5, sometimes to 2 CR also. Now, this is a big kind of expenses. How do we do the cost cutting? Second, because we are listed, we also have to work towards ESG. And we have to actually submit those results to SEBI. So we had started taking steps towards it right from COVID times. So during COVID times, we had adopted, because in Mumbai or Thane, the space is a major constraint. We naturally couldn't only be done with rooftop solars or anything. So what we have started investing in renewable energy, we have started deciding that our aim was to eventually reach to 50% of energy coming from renewable sources. So we had invested in windmills. So we initially began with 2 windmills. Eventually we started adding to it. In last 6 years, continuously when we had invested, today we have 5 windmills, and we are running with 1 solar, and second solar is in the phase of commissioning. Now, what is the impact, and why should we have the windmills? So these are the phases. April 21 onwards, we started investing in windmills. We started generating energy through these renewable sources. See, I'm not going into much into this because all of you can see it. I have only now 5 minutes left. Today I can say with this 5 windmills and 1 solar. So solar, we have multi-state approach, because we have our 4 units currently. 1 is in Madhya Pradesh, Indore, 3 are in Maharashtra, and 3 more are lined up. So what we are planning is like, so solar is basically supporting to our Indore unit. Windmills are currently supporting to Thane, Dombivli, and Pune units. So with that, basically, we are currently around 30% of our total energy coming from the windmill, renewable sources, aiming that in near future, we should be around 50%. We are commissioning our 3 megawatt solar project. Now, all this is text. All this is, a kind of, we all go through, we understand, figures bore us. My thing is like that, even after investing in this renewable, are we completely going in the net zero direction? Today we are not, because how many of us are really aware that even these energy sources are not completely environmental friendly? Do we know that solar or even windmill today have their own negative sides of it? If you invest in 1 windmill, first of all, 1 windmill takes around 3 acres, or even solar. You require to have 3 acres of land around that 1 project. which actually becomes agriculturally not efficient because we can't produce, we can't have any produce over there. It impacts the biodiversity, it impacts the whatever wildlife it has in that particular area today. That is one thing. Second, the recycling of it. Solar panels, we all see and we all feel very happy, that we have invested in solar panel, we have generated energy through solar panel. How the solar panels are manufactured? It requires silicon, it requires copper, it requires extraction and purification of these products, and it doesn't come free. When I say free, it is not in monetary terms. It has its own environmental impact. The purification also takes burden, generates emissions when it comes to environment, and then the recycling. Today, with the maximum efficiency, we could still achieve only 85% recycling of all these solar panels. Recycling has become a major concern. If it just goes to landfill, whatever we have earned through this clean energy actually goes in negative because that recycling itself acts as a emitting source. So all of us, when we talk about renewable energy, this is not the complete future, what we are talking. The complete future, there are inventions going on. There are double-sided solar panels, which are basically not touching to the ground. Those are on the air, where below that it is proven by science that we can grow, we can have the produce, we can have the farms, and we can also grow the trees. So this is all about my case study. But the thing is that we are not even halfway when it comes to healthcare. We still have a long way to go. Even after investing so much, it goes to around, around 50, 60 CR investing funds, capex. Irrespective of that, we are still not halfway. If we have to go ahead, all of us require to think in very different angles. Just 10 days back, India's consumption, the demand touched 270 gigawatts. And 1 gigawatt is equivalent to 10 lakh kilowatts. Normal urban household consumption, electricity consumption per month is roughly 250 kilowatts. When we talk about 270 gigawatts, how do we generate that energy? It all cannot come from the fossil fuel. So today, India could match to some extent this demand because of our renewable energy sources. Again, when I say renewable energy sources, we can't only depend on solar or even on the windmills going ahead. We have to think of innovative ways and approaches. Hydropower is one of it, nuclear is another of it, but still it has its pros and cons. As healthcare, we all require, now many hospitals are investing in solar or in windmill. But with each of us, what we can do apart from these energy is also energy conservation. Saving energy is also saving your environmental tax, environmental carbon footprint. So if all of us get aware to it, we try, ensuring that at home, the way we switch off our lights, we ensure that energy is consumed to the minimal. In the hospital also, we all require to be aware of it. Otherwise, the future is not going to be bright for sure. So all the best. I think I have matched my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for very apt comments that you made, madam. I would now request Dr. Sneha.
Namaste and good afternoon to each one of you all. No, it's only the front row that is saying namaste. What about the team that is there behind? So I just have one question to ask the team that is there behind. I want to know how many nurses from Operation Theatre? How many nurses from Operation Theatre? Can you just raise your hands? I can just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably maybe out of the 200, 300 that are sitting over here. Yes? So that means the team over there are working very hard to get our patients operated and they moved safely to recovery, and we never thank that team. Yes or no? All the nursing heads over here, sitting over here, will you agree or will you not agree? Nobody is saying anything. What is it? Do you agree or you don't agree? Yeah. So I'm going to talk something about a project that we had done. So before I start, my sincere thanks to Captain Ajita ma'am for this opportunity. I can definitely not start this session if I have not thanked our group nursing director, Dr. Captain Usha Banerjee ma'am. A big round of applause for ma'am, though ma'am could not make it up today. And definitely to all the nursing leaders of Apollo Hospital, to all the OT team that is there in the Apollo. Why I am standing over here and presenting this particular project, that which we were able to do jointly as a team. So the topic of my team was Beyond the Incision, a Healthcare Study. I should also thank 3M because they were the collaborators of this particular project. And I'll just take a half second of it, that this particular project, they wanted to do it first in Apollo Navi Mumbai. And since I'm also the convener for the Operation Theatre group, for the entire group, so I said that why do this project only for Apollo Navi Mumbai? Let's do it for the entire group. I did not know how to go about with it. And that's the reason I want to thank 3M for that, because they had their pioneer committee members that were there in different regions that help us complete this particular project. Okay, what was the objective of the case study? One, definitely to demonstrate transformational leadership in SSI prevention, to show the impact of the standardized perioperative practice, to highlight the link between patient safety and environmental sustainability, and to prevent scalable model across the multi-hospital network. Now, what was the problem? The problem was preventable harm with system impact. I'm sorry, I'm not able to look at the this down, so I'll have to look at the presentation. So what I noticed was, so what we noticed as a team, so when we hurdled as a team, we found that there were SSIs in certain pockets of the group. So definitely the most common preventable healthcare associated infection, which we all know. Variations in perioperative practice. So maybe suppose if Calcutta was practicing something different, Chennai was practicing different, Bangalore was practicing different, Mumbai was practicing different. So there were, because these were the older hospitals that were there, so definitely it was very impossible to reach out and understand what was those common practices that was there in the theatre. And of course the need for system level transformation was required. Now, what drew this particular transformation? So we had a unified vision where we wanted to, come together as a team and create a zero preventable SSIs. The standardization was to have certain common protocols. So also when we analyzed, we saw that certain SOPs were missing in certain areas. Like for example, Apollo, we have A category hospital, B category and the C category. So definitely in certain pockets of the hospitals that were there, we found that some of the SOPs were missing. A multidisciplinary engagement was required, because when we talk about this particular beyond the incision, it is definitely the involvement of a multidisciplinary that first starts with the surgeons, with the nurses, and with all the rest of the team that was required, and a leadership accountability for regular monitoring, audits and ownership. Now when I talk to you about leadership, you will always think it is a nursing head. It was not the nursing head over there. It was the nurse who was there. It was the junior nurse that was there in the theatre who would do the audit and get back to us and say that these are the practices that are correct and these are the practices that require your attention. And that is how we all huddled together to find out that probably this would work better for us. Because sitting at the helm of affairs, I can chart the number of requirements that are there and tell the team to just follow it blindly. And I did not wanted that. So made the last nurse in the theater to participate and get back to us that what it would take to, come to the standardization of the operation theater. Now, the intervention. So definitely we collated all the data that we had, what are the misses, whether it was an SOP, certain practices. So definitely we had to do an evidence-based training module. Then we created a training module that was required for the theater. I'm sure all of you all sitting over here, you all will wonder that you're saying about the training, how you could have trained the nurses when they're having, when they are clocking cases of 100 in a day or 50 in a day or 30 in a day, how you would have removed those nurses. I'll talk to you ahead when we talk about this. Of course, focus on the proactive skin protection before, during, after surgery, and delivered a training module. Now, what we covered, these were the 4 things where we found there were gaps. So the skin preparation, so when you talk about the skin preparation, we found that the chlorhexidine bath was only once. So we introduced it twice. We felt that that practice will definitely bring one more skin barrier and help definitely in the post-operative recovery. The incision management, especially with the drapes that were required. The PPE and the sterility, how it is being used, what is the traffic movement of the nurse or of the team that is moving in from one theater to the other theater. And definitely the environmental controls. So we had to sit with all these teams who deliberately sat and came across and brought us how it would look in a day of a theater of Apollo group across and come with certain points that are there and what were the missing elements. And then we came to a core standardized tool that is called as SITE, very easy to remember. So the skin preparation, incise drapes and prophylaxis, definitely we had to even monitor that. The temperature management, because we needed to know that a hypothermia definitely has its long-term effects in the recovery. Enclosure and the sterility check. Of course, when it came to the project scale and implementation, we did it across to 46 hospitals across Apollo. The participants, as mentioned, the structured workflow was, first we created a baseline assessment to know where we stood, a training, a continuous training that was there across all the Apollos that were there. So we used to directly interact with the operation theater in charges, with the nursing leaders of all the units that are there, get back to a structured, so a structured training calendar was created and that was put across and it was practiced across the entire group. Of course, a hands-on workshop was conducted. So in the hands-on workshop, we had selected group of people and then definitely we included the others also. And certification definitely, because we all know that in the theater, there are hardly any workshops happening for the operation theater nurses. So it is definitely important that you motivate the team, and which is very, very important. So certified every participant that was there in the theater. So almost I can say 3,000 plus nurses were trained. Along with the nurses, we had even our junior doctors, we had even our technicians, I've not mentioned that. So almost I can say 900 plus scored. And when we did our initial assessment in all our different units, you will not believe our percentage of assessment was almost hovering between 70, some hospitals had 60. And once when the training and everything happened and the adherence happened, what we see is over here is 80% of adherence that you see. Of course, the design was pre-test, post-test. Duration was definitely 6 months across for every hospital that was there in Apollo. The sample size, I'm just giving you this rough figure. This will be more than that, almost 2,375 nurses. And what was our variables? The knowledge and the practice scores. And how does this help the planet? You will wonder that what has that got to do with that? So, few things to list. So definitely the SSI prevention supports our planet health. If you look at in deep, reduced infection definitely lead to rational and appropriate use of antibiotics. So you avoid those unnecessary wastage of antibiotics if you use it timely in the course of the surgery in the perioperative area. Training, education and continuous monitoring, definitely when you have it structured, you have your proper reduction in your biomedical waste, your standard protocol leading to optimized resource utilization, and your efficient workflow reducing the OR energy and the material consumption. Now, what was the evaluation domains that we looked into? Our practice compliance, that is a site bundle, knowledge improvement, the clinical outcomes and the operational efficiency and standard. So overall what we saw at the group level was there was 24% increase in compliance in the practice across the group. Majority hospitals achieved 75% of compliance. All hospitals implemented antimicrobial prophylaxis protocol and we are still continuing to monitor it and the adherence is 85%. SSI reduced rates to less than 2% across the hospital, which is being monitored from the infection control team. So I won't repeat it, it is the same thing. And what was the leadership lessons? Definitely standardize, improve safety, engagement drives compliance, certification builds motivation, structured assessments builds measurable change. These were our challenges. You can just read it. Sustainable strategies, which we continue to do till today. The competency training, continuous competency training and the mapping. Regular audits, integration into our SOPs and leadership-led monitoring. So this is the conclusion. All that I will say is transforming surgical care is not just saving lives, it's protecting our people, resources and planet. Thank you for the patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Sneha, for a very enlightening session. So what we are witnessing today here is two role models who are seated before you, one from medical and one from nursing side, who have taken almost a pledge to protect the planet. We really appreciate your endurance and your sustainability both. Imagine there would be a world where every person, every healthcare worker is conscious of this initiative. Imagine communities where sustainability is not an obligation, but a shared value. We all share it together. Imagine what we leave for our future generations. We leave for them cleaner cities, greener landscapes, enough resources, and make their lives healthier. Thank you. When we heal the planet, we heal ourselves. And thank you once again for enlightening this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Today's discussions have reminded us that transformational leadership is not only about leading people and organizations, but also about creating a sustainable future and leaving a positive legacy for generations to come. We may give our chairperson and speakers a warm round of applause. May I request our chairperson and speakers to kindly gather at the photo corner for a group photograph.